Hey everyone, I'm Emily Johnson, and I graduated in 2019 with bachelor's degrees in economics and in music, and I am currently in the MAT program here for social studies education so that I can teach economics. So when I first started this, I probably only knew up to my grandparents and two of my great grandparents that I had known while they were living. But beyond that, I didn't really have a clue, so I called up my mom, who still has one parent alive, but we don't talk to her anymore, unfortunately, and my grandma on my dad's side, to give me the stories of her family and her deceased husband's family. And then my grandma suggested that I go to Ancestry.com because she said that she had a brother that had already done the tree for our family. And although I couldn't find it, I did do the research myself and found a lot of interesting information that I did not know was out there in the world. So it was interesting kind of how easy it was to find a lot of this information, and I got names that neither of those were able to tell me, but I was able to research myself. So starting at me, I was raised upper middle class. I went to, I think it was a diverse school, but the gifted program did not match the demographics. So from what I saw, middle school on was mostly white, not very diverse. I was born in Illinois, but moved here very young, so mostly raised in Georgia and went to UGA for college. My parents, like I said, we moved from Illinois. They were both born in Illinois, and they came from similar families. They both had two brothers, just normal middle class families, and both of them were able to go to college. My mom completed college and got a job that allowed us to be upper middle class. And yeah, and then from the grandparents, my mom's family, same thing, middle class. This was back in the day, though, where a high school diploma could get you most jobs. So my mom told me a story that her dad, she said that he probably couldn't read, but at a third grade reading level, but he was an athlete in high school, so he still got his diploma and still did really well for himself. And her mom actually also worked while the kids were growing up. My dad, similar situation. His dad worked. His mom, I think, worked for a little bit, but stayed home with the kids when they had children. So the actual one big kind of question mark on my tree is my paternal grandfather. He was adopted by my great-grandparents, and although I was able to trace my great-grandparents and find information about them and trace their families back, none of this part of the tree right here is actually blood relative to me. So, but I did trace anyway as far as I could go. So from the greats, I was able to get most of these names from just knowing, and then the greats, I actually got, my grandma actually knew a lot of her grandparents, so that was really helpful, but I did find a lot of these on Ancestry, and like I said, I was shocked at everything I could find on there. I found a lot of draft cards for World War II. 3 of my great-grandfathers were drafted in World War II. I didn't find one for Robert here, but who knows. I found my great-grandmother's naturalization application from when she immigrated from Ireland and changed her name, and reportedly, according to my mother, lied about her age to get into the country. But other than that, I basically traced my family through a few different countries. Norway was one, England, Germany, and Ireland, and I was actually able to go a couple of them. Let's see, this one right here, Luis and Ava had traceable lines through Ancestry all the way back to 1760 in the US, so they had relatives that were born in 1760. Beyond that, they did not have a record, but I'm sure it was not in the US at that point. But so overall trends in my family tree is overwhelmingly white. Norway and England and Germany and Ireland is about as white as you can get. The only question mark being, again, my grandfather right here, and he is white, although not kind of the burns like a lobster white. So I'd be interested to see, what his heritage was, because although his adoptive parents knew who the birth mom was, they did not have any idea who the father was at all. And then also overwhelmingly middle class. It doesn't really look like anyone popped out in terms of money, except that this side of the family up here, Anne and her daughter Elizabeth, were pretty poor. And then Catherine was poor as well until she moved to the States. But other than that, overwhelmingly middle class. And as far as I know, everyone else probably didn't live in a diverse world, so I'd probably be grew up in the most diverse environment, which is sad. But anyway, yeah, that's as much as I got. I could probably go on forever about every one of these people and farther back, but thanks for listening.